Hi guys, so I have not made a YouTube in a while, but I kind of wanted to start getting back into it, and a lot has happened. I moved to Boston, and I had another baby, and she is almost 8 weeks, which is exciting, and also has gone by just so fast. And anyway, I was thinking about how I just haven't done a YouTube in so long, and there have been so many things that I have wanted to talk about and share and kind of jump back into, like blogging and YouTubes and stuff. So right now, since it's nap time, I thought it would just kind of be a good time to jump back in. So I thought I had this idea to do a video on some of the crazy things that have happened to me in Disneyland, and more specifically, like funny things that my brother did in Disneyland. Just these crazy stories that I never have shared before, and it's been a long time. And anyway, so I was thinking about it. I'm like, that would just, I really should tell people these crazy experiences, because whenever I've told the few people I have, they're always like, that did not happen. I'm like, yes, it did. It really did. So anyway, my brother Chris, he passed away when he had just graduated high school, and I miss him so much. But I think one of the great ways to remember him is just to tell these fun stories. And he loved Disney as much as me. Like, we loved Disneyland, and my mom used to take us there when we were little. And I was just thinking about some of the things today that I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe everything he did. So Chris was kind of mischievous, if you knew him, and not in like a bad way. He just kind of always wanted to see like what was behind the scenes, and he just had this way of you know, taking it like one step further, and it really wasn't out of a place of like, I want to create trouble. It was just kind of like pushing the limits a little bit. And you know what, a lot of my siblings were like that, and it's not like we try to do it on purpose. It just, I'll find myself in these situations where I'm like, oh, I want to see what's behind the curtain. And anyway, I guess we all kind of have some of these crazy stories. But I remember going to Disneyland with Chris, and I don't know what grade he was in, honestly. He was probably like 9th or 10th grade. And he, back then, Ariel's, the place where you would go and meet Ariel, it was like a seashell chair that she would sit in. I'm not sure if it's still like that at Disneyland. And it would turn around when she was sitting in the chair, when she was all done. It would turn around like back into the wall, her seashell chair. And I'm guessing it's just because obviously she had a mermaid tail on, and it's not like she can get up and walk away when her shift is done. So the mermaid shell would kind of just like swivel in, and it was like, well, that's goodbye Ariel. Like, he was a pretty like skinny kid, and he found a way to, and this was like, it was pretty like a tight seal around the shell and the wall, because you know, it's basically like a door into behind the scenes that they didn't want, Disney didn't, you know, want anyone back there. Somehow Chris squeezed in between the cracks of the seashell, and he got back there. And I guess he ended up coming out like a different exit close by, and that might have been the one where a worker was like, hey, what are you doing back here? And he hurried and just jetted out of there. So I just always thought that was so funny. And he said there was like electrical stuff back there. I just, you know, a behind the scenes kind of a room. It wasn't like it was meant for guests. So I just always thought that was crazy that he had managed to do that, and just so funny. And then another time, so on the Snow White ride, there are like these bars when you're waiting in line. I guess it's like, what is it in the line queue? It's almost like you're looking into the witch's, or the queen, I should say, the queen's like chamber or something. And there's like these bars. It used to be like this anyway, and you could look in and see into her, I don't know, little lair area. and all the guests put coins in there, and it's like filled up with coins. Anyway, people tossing stuff in, but you can't go in because there's bars on the window. And Chris, once again, was skinny enough that he wedged himself through those bars and ended up in there. And I think he was so nervous about it, it was only just for a second, like, oh my gosh, and he got out. But I'm like, you were back there? Like, it's just one of those things where I'm like, this is something that Disney set up, and it's not meant for people to be walking around in, and he would never, like, do anything, like, destructive or anything. It was more just like, oh my gosh, I did this. So that one was crazy. And then in the same ride, he, because, you know, that one's, like, older, and they have the handlebars that go down over your lap, but it's not like you're buckled in and you couldn't wiggle out. He did. He jumped out of the car when it was going and was like running alongside the cart, and I remember I was so scared at the time. I was probably like, I don't know, in like 5th grade or something, 5th or 6th grade, and for some reason, like, the thought of like, oh my gosh, you're breaking the rules, I was so scared. And it was only for a second. He just like wedged himself out, and he was running alongside the cart, going by just a little cart going on the train track or whatever, the ride track. So he was just wandering around. Well, he could have been wandering around. He really was only out for a second, but that was one of those things I'm like, I can't believe he did that. I can't believe he wiggled out of the lap bar and was running alongside. I'm sure it's like there are so many dangerous things that could happen, but he wasn't like young enough that he would be, I don't know, that it was one of those things you'd be scared about a little kid doing. He just did it for a second and jumped back in, and they might have even come on the speaker or something and said like, stay in your car. But yeah, if you're ever wondering if like what happens, apparently they'll just give you a warning, but we didn't get kicked out or anything. So there's those two, and then he also, there's like so many things. When they were redoing the Space Mountain, they had it closed off, but of course he ended up sneaking in there as well, and like he wanted to see behind the scenes, so he went like it was kind of like these long tunnels, the queue line, you know, goes in and out and out, and he snuck in there, and sure enough got to see, he went in there like as far as to where he could see the track that they were working on, and then hurry and left after that. But even that, I was like, that's scary, what if something had happened? And he just kind of like snuck his way around in there. So those are just a few of the crazy things, and the list goes on. He was so silly, and like I said, it was never coming from a point of like trying to harm anyone or like be dangerous, or it was just like a curious kid, and he was such a kid at heart. So anyway, those stories always make me laugh thinking back to it, and kind of the behind the scenes stuff that he always wanted to see, like, well, what's back there, and why can't I go and see what's happening? And I think now he would probably still be doing that kind of stuff if he were still here. I think Disney's changed so much now, Disneyland, but I think he would just have so much fun still trying to see how things work and what's behind the scene and everything. And I even remember one time he waited till the very end of a Disney parade because he wanted to see Mickey, like, who was behind the mask, and I think they were about to take it off. They were like lifting it up at the very end, and he had like was looking through a fence or something, and then somehow I think they saw Chris and hurry and put their Mickey head back on. But anyway, it's just good memories, and always makes me laugh thinking of those types of things. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, then subscribe. There's so many more funny Disney memories and things that have happened in the Disney parks that I would love to share. So let me know, and thanks so much for watching.